Blueberry. A little bit butter.
I thought so.
My grandmother actually used to make blueberry muffins with crispy bacon. So she put it in
So I'm gonna
that.
put that
Yeah,
minus
favorite.
one.
When you put butter on that.
I bet it's
I mean, fresh blueberries from the garden.
Caitlin, I ran by your yard today and it looks so good.
Here?
Like all the weeds are growing?
Yeah,
Like,
but-
no, it is so clean. It is her front. Your front
Grow everything
looks
else here.
so good. What are you growing, corn?
My children and husband,
I had the cleats dry.
my children and husband are growing corn for the fair and pumpkins.
So.
How long, isn't it? You know, I mean, Oh, I'm sorry, that was not a kick out. I promise. Now it is. That was a kick out. That was a kick out. Good evening, all. Welcome to tonight's meeting. We're gonna call the meeting officially to order, and if you are able, please stand with me for the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Item number 4 is adoption of the agenda. If I could have a motion
I'll make a motion to adopt tonight's agenda.
and a second.
I'll
Thank
second that.
Okay, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Number 5 is our call to the public. Ms. Cheyenne, do we have any cards? Anyone here that would like to speak that you did not turn in a card? Going once, twice, 3, okay, out. Number 6 is our information and discussion items. First up is our superintendent's report, but before Ms. Daniels does her report, we're going to ask Ms. Gomez to come up and do a student council report.
You got it.
Good evening, members of the school board and community members. My name is Chino Gomez, and I am excited to be here tonight representing the Chino Valley High School Student Council. It's hard to believe that we're already starting a new school year. It has been great to see everyone back on campus. There's already a lot of energy and excitement, and Student Council is really excited to keep that going. This year, we have a lot planned. We're looking forward to homecoming week, spirit days, athletic events, assemblies, Fallapalooza, dances, community service projects, and more activities. This is all to bring students together and make high school a little bit more fun. Our goal this year is to make sure we actually are representing our students. We want to hear from everyone. We want to hear what students think and what they want to see happen at Chino Valley. We want to know what we can do to make our school a place where everyone feels welcome and involved. We have reinstituted monthly open meetings so that we can make sure that everyone on campus is being heard. This month, we will have our fall sports assembly on August 20th, and we will be rescheduling senior sunrise for the week of homecoming because of this morning's cancellation due to the thunder. We are really excited about what this year has in store, and we're very grateful for the support we receive from our teachers, staff, administration, families, and community, especially our school board. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks. When is homecoming?
I think it's the second week of September.
September.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Thank
we only
you.
have 4 home football games this
Oh,
year,
goodness.
so.
Why? Just maybe it fell? All right, item 6A1 is our superintendent.
Alrighty. So it's the 3rd day of school. We finished that one up. I'm happy to report I've only had one parent phone call so far, which was like, pretty good.
Thanks for jinxing us.
And on July 30th, we had our kickoff day and we had over 350 employees present. It was really fun. We had the Blues Brothers present. They introduced themselves as the Blues and Gray with a touch of Orange Brothers. They did there. I can report Billy was one of them. We had 3 hosted coffee trucks and we had In-N-Out workers there. We had we just had a really fun morning. We gave brand ambassador awards to all the bus drivers. The foundation gave them each a gift card to Skillets because that's where they all like to go hang out. So that was really fun. And then August 3rd and 4th, we had our Meet the Teacher events, which were exceedingly well attended. It's probably the best attendance we've ever had. As far as enrollment goes, we're sitting at 2,013 students as of noon today. That's down about 70 overall. That's 3%. We've averaged 4% decline. We budgeted for about 7 or 8% decline, so we're in really good shape that way. And we have, I want to let you know that I ran the special education population report last Thursday. At Territorial, we have 25% of our student population qualifies for special education services. We always expect that's going to be a little higher percent-wise because our preschool, under federal law, begins taking special needs students when they're 3. So it always makes those numbers a little higher because we don't have a full slate of gen ed to balance that out. Our other schools are running just over 21% each for special needs population. We're clearing the books of students who were no-shows. We're down to very, very few. Some people move out of state and forget to withdraw their kids. They don't think about that during the summer. So we find out when we start trying to track them down when their kids didn't come to school this fall. So we're doing really great on that. And one thing I want to remind you about is in order to go with ASBATE, our current insurance provider, we had to maintain our relationship with Arizona School Boards Association. The difference in the cost is far more than our annual membership fee, but our annual membership fee, we already were paid a year ahead, so we're good. We just don't buy the policy services anymore, which were about $10,000 a year. So we're saving there. But because we're still members, if you would like to, you can still attend the law conference or that annual conference in December. Cheyenne can give you information about that. And we still can send a delegate to the delegate assembly if somebody wants to give input about the things that our district feels are priorities for the current legislative session. So if you want to do that, you can either nosy so you don't end up being the delegate or volunteer if you are interested in being the delegate from Chino Valley.
All right.
Don't everybody raise their hand at once?
So it's Wednesday, September 9th from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Camelback Inn. So it's just that morning. It's Wednesday, September 9th. You can think about it, let Cheyenne know. If you're interested, it's typically on Saturday, but Saturday is Rosh Hashanah. And so out of respect for their members who celebrate Rosh Hashanah, the delegate assembly was bumped to Wednesday. So you can let us know unless someone really wants to volunteer.
Now, if you attend the delegate assembly in September, do you still have to attend the annual meeting at the December conference?
I do not know. They've been a little light on information.
Well, I'll let you know if I have that day open. I was gonna nominate.
Patty's like, well, I'll check my calendar on the 10th of September. So, and then I just wanted to give you a quick update. I had a meeting this morning with school facilities board officials and an official from the Arizona Department of Administration who represents the governor's office. Project is on hold as SFB and the governor's office is seeking additional funding. We are about $2 million short for the cost of the project. Every end of useful life project is short. We're probably the least short. They did a very, very poor job for analyzing the way the buildings are used, what the costs would be in association with that. and applied a very old square footage formula to the cost, like $400 a square foot, which you cannot build a commercial building for. So that, I had that meeting this morning. We have a very strong advocate from the governor's office. But their goal is to put it before the legislative members now in the fall with the intent of the governor putting it in her proposed budget for fiscal 28, which will be next year's budget. In the meeting, I asked the elephant in the room question, which is the governor is neck and neck with her opponent right now in all the polls. This governor is very public education friendly. The candidate running against her is not. So even if she wins the election and it's in her budget, I'd say we're home free. If she doesn't win the election, the incoming governor may take it out of the budget and we would be left in limbo. So there's a lot riding on it. There's a lot riding on the election. It's a very important issue. It doesn't just affect us, but one of the things where it's left us sitting in no man's land is the 10 classrooms that we did not ask to have deemed end of useful life cannot legally have our money applied to them to keep them at acceptable levels for student occupancy. So that was one thing. We need a new fire alarm system in all 10 of those classrooms, and 3 of them need at least mini splits for cooling. And State School Facilities Board says, hey, we can't use building renewal grant for that because we've deemed them over and done with and taken them off our books. We can't spend the money on it, not that I would want to anyway. We can't spend the money on it because they're end of useful life, but we have important safety projects that need to be done. 3 of the classrooms house special needs students. 2 rooms hold special needs students who need strong climate control to avoid seizures. And so today in the meeting, I just asked for what are we going to do about this? Because we can't afford it. You down the buildings, who's paying for this? And it looks like through the governor's office, they're going to award us emergency deficiency correction money, which is outside the building renewal grant process to do the work that needs to be done, because the fire alarm, I didn't look at Chris's email, the fire alarms for those buildings alone, John, did you see that come in today?
282,000.
Uh-huh.
And then
We can't afford
8,000 for just these 4.
So 8,000 for just those buildings and for the HVAC, and just those buildings for fire alarm for those 10 classrooms.
About the same.
So 16,000 that we shouldn't have to spend. So it looks like they're going to pick up the tab on that. That was my kind of non-negotiable in it, is that we can't afford to pay that and we shouldn't be paying that because this wasn't our decision. So that one we pushed through today with the reasoning they asked us to include. Meanwhile, I'm still expecting that we'll have 60 Minutes here, I think in September, to do a story on Arizona schools' deficiencies in funding and deficiencies in facilities. I made them aware of that again today, that those buildings will be part of the tour. We will talk about where we are, the capital lawsuit, the deficiencies that we're left hanging in no man's land because of inadequacy of funding. So we'll see where it goes, but right now I'm not counting on anything moving forward until next summer on the new building. So I did let them know we are, our commitment still stands for the adjacent ways money for the fire lanes and the bus lanes for that building. We do have a private donor who's outfitting the media rooms to the tune of $50,000. I'll be reaching out to that donor tomorrow because we've already started the program at CVHS. Year 1 of the program is rolling with the expectation that we would be into it for year 2 with the right equipment. So we'll talk about where we can house that equipment. I still want to make that available. But that's where we are with it as of today. I wish there was better news. There was definitely a ball drop by the person who was supposed to be our advocate with School Facilities Board last February. And that's something that I don't think is okay. So it should have gone in the governor's budget last spring or gone to the legislature last spring. But it is affecting at least 9 other districts as well right now. Some of them have are missing more than half the funding that they need because they did such a poor job they rushed into something without studying it very well ahead of time. So that's where we are with it. And those are kind of the updates. As we roll forward, I will keep you informed if and when we hear from 60 Minutes again this month to schedule some hard dates. So.
Any questions, comments?
Thank you, Cindy, for all you do.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing. I'm glad that you're on top of it. And you
I'm
know
feeling
what's
cranky
going on.
about it.
I don't blame you.
Item 6B1 is financial reports this evening. Mr. Livingston.
Thank you. Madam President, members of the board, administration, staff, and ladies and gentlemen. A quick look at the month ended July 31st, 2026. We do have two perspectives on this month. And I have to give some kudos to the Yavapai County Treasurer, the Yavapai County School Superintendent. Other districts in the state aren't quite this particular, meaning if we really wanted to roll our year-ending cash from the June 30th year-end into our new year, they would let us do that in August if we wanted to, or even in July if we really wanted to. But Yavapai County is really conservative and really helpful at the same time. They know we have grants that don't even end until September, and they started last July of 2025. So they work really carefully, cautiously with us to make sure we're financially sound and we don't roll that cash until we bring the AFR to you October, you say 6th this year? I think that first Monday in October. We had a revision on that
That's
date.
not going to be till the September meeting. We can't, it was not on the agenda, John.
Oh, okay.
So we have to
Okay.
wait till the
We
September
will.
meeting.
The first, when we have our October meeting, that's when you approve the AFR. Then right after that, then they let us roll the cash. That way, everything that's connected is approved. So what we have then is a report for the 25-26 year cash. So keep in mind, there's been very little activity. We had 2 payrolls in July, but we didn't have all our staff on board. So for me to give you a report from the 26-27 year would be inaccurate and incomplete. This is since we opened the books last July 1st of 25, where we're at with that year. So if we take a quick look at the summary here, the first page shows that our budget for last year, $19,434,000. Expenditures at this point are just under $18,600,000. If you can look at your summary report on the website there. Unexpended budget carry forward of just over $830,000, which is really, really good news. That we predicted about $670,000. We were able to put together some more expenditure reductions, partly because we were so fortunate with those annual financial reports we rewrote for the 22 year, 23 year, 24 year. We moved about $500,000 into our 570 indirect cost fund. We were able to move some of last year's expenditures into that fund, which really helped with our carryover. We'd like to have carryover approaching $1 million every year if we possibly can in our operating fund. The good news, as of the end of July, we had $2,700 still not paid in the 26 year. One of them was it wasn't APS, but there were 2 utility costs that we still needed to pay. Routine, couldn't avoid them. So it's nearly completely paid out for last year. And it looks like if everything holds, we'll have a balance unspent of right around 4.3%, which we really like. But we can't commit to it really early in the year. The Auditor General likes school districts to have at least 4%, a little more buffer there, unspent every year. Capital budget of $804,000. Expenditures, I think, are finalized $630,000, which leaves us a nice $170,000 carry over in capital. But again, we were able to move some of those costs to other places. Adjacent Waste Fund, we're standing by there with 45.8% spent on a budget of $1,080,000. We didn't get any projects done this spring or summer with Adjacent Waste. All the projects for the 584,000 were done last July of the beginning of the fiscal year. Any questions on the budget summary for those three main funds? Okay. Couple cash funds, if you can go to the page that's called cash funds. These are really tightly managed. We can't write a requisition or a purchase order or an invoice. We can't accept invoices for products or services received unless we have cash in the fund. If we have negative cash of $1 million in January in our operating fund, the county doesn't really care. They know they have more property taxes to book for us. But these cash funds, they won't allow us to overspend. So one I'd like to draw your attention to, 291, fourth from the top there. That fund is brand new. It's only a year and a half old. And already we've received, if you look at the revenue, 180,000. And last year we received over 50,000. And that's us claiming some of the high costs for our Medicaid eligible students, claiming it back from the federal government. There's a lot of work that goes into this, a lot of compliance. And I think they have, Nicole can correct me if I'm wrong, our special education director, they have even got higher expectations for IEP writing, right? To make sure they're compliant, because there's a lot of fussy, once we get federal reimbursement, a lot of fussy arbitrary requirements that maybe we wouldn't need if we didn't have this. So we really are fortunate to have that $121,000 cash balance as of the end of June. And we have a partially funded special education position and a partially funded position in my office that are being paid half out of each of this fund. So that's really a good sign. Fund 500, our school plant fund, when we do sell land or equipment or buildings, the proceeds go right into that fund. And we have right at the moment 101,000 there. That's a very good sign. Our food service balance went from over $1 million a few months ago before we rewrote some AFRs to 420,000. That's about what the state wants, about 3 months of cash in case our claims are paid late. We can operate and pay for our food service company for the first 3 months with that 400,000. So when we aren't late, we get reimbursed about the 15th of the following month. So that cash will continue to build in food service. Another one to look at is 570 indirect costs. Back in January, there was 140,000 there. After lots of transfers and moving costs in there, there's still 558,000. So that's really a strong fund for us in direct costs. That's the district's cost for hosting and running grants. The teacherage is interesting. That's Fund 580. We've got the 10 mini houses. We started the year with 6,500. We were able to take that 61,000 expense and journal some expense from the capital fund, because the annual debt service on that is 139,000 a year. We were able to journal 61,000 into this fund and use up the cash from the rents to pay some of that debt service at 139,000. And you say, well, why would we leave 12,000 in there to start the year? We've ordered new ranges for the mini houses. So those ranges are coming in. I believe they might even be on campus, but they were about $8,000. So the county would still look at this ending cash and see if it was in there from last year before they would honor this year's expense vouchers. That's the way that works. And 691, you might say, well, why are we still, 691 is our building renewal, why are we still 2.4 million encumbered? We still have 4 projects going on that aren't fully closed out. Del Rio weatherization, 1.2 million. The final invoices for Del Rio HVAC haven't been paid yet. That's just over $1 million. And we've got this project for this building, 208,000. This building was completely sealed. I didn't say that right. This building's windows were replaced and sealed. There's still some leak issues, but not as bad. And then there's 3 fire alarm projects that are underway as well. So we keep those purchase orders open until we completely close them. So they'll be closed in the next week or two, because it's getting to the point we can't pay for goods and services anymore, because everything that was done by June 30th has already been paid for. And we can only use this year's funds to pay for goods and services that were completed by June 30th. So that's the way that goes. Last, any questions on the cash funds report?
No.
Okay, and then we move down to the very last one here, which is the cash flow. And the cash flow is not respecting cash funds or budget funds. Those are the ones that we can spend the cash before we have it, because the county knows there's property taxes behind it. This one, the cash flow counts cash in all funds. And you see we ended the month of July with 6.2 million. all funds. And any questions for the month ended July 31st with the reports?
No. All right, moving on then, we'll let you do student activity. You're ready for that.
Okay, so I might have been missing something, but I think when you go to the I column, if you're opening that on your laptops there, I think the I column might be new. I've never noticed all those names there before. I probably didn't have the I column open, but it's nice to see all the folks that are either coaches or advisors. And
We don't see
We don't have it.
We
See the
don't
icon?
know what you're
No,
talking
we don't
about.
have it.
So you're good.
okay, so
Just go to page 35, John,
okay,
or 36.
okay. So there we go. I do have their names, and I don't know why I've got it and you don't, but it's just got the names of the advisors and the coaches. And we've got some pretty significant, I guess, success stories. There's no way around it. Student council at the high school, 32.5 thousand. High school mile high wrestling, 27,000. And high school FCCLA, our culinary arts at the high school, 9.9 million or 9,137. So again, mile high wrestling, you could say, well, if they made $1,000 a year after all the refs were paid for that huge December tournament, and they did that for 27 years, they consistently had that $1,000 surplus. That would probably be about right. But there's a lot of stewardship and a lot of work goes into these to make sure that we're in the red every year. So it's nice to see that we start with our ending cash from last year, spend and we raise, but we don't just live off of, none of these advisors are living off of the prior year advisors, I guess you could say good works or excellent job. Every year they fundraise. So, and a lot of districts in this state do not have these positive fund balances. In fact, some of the programs that we offer are not offered other places just because there's so much human capital and sacrifice involved. So that's just a great shout out to the advisors and coaches that make all these sports happen.
Questions, ladies? All right,
Thank you, John.
thank you.
Thank you.
All right, item 7A is our consent agenda. If we can get an emotion, if anyone has any emotions about the consent agenda, speak now. A motion.
I will make a motion for the approval of the consent agenda.
And a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you. All right, let me get there real quick. 60, thank you.
Sorry, I said it quietly instead of saying it out loud.
Say it loud and we'll.
Sorry.
Sorry. I'm good now. All right, agenda item 8A is our curriculum and transition HMS Archery Club to official CVUSD sport with coaching stipends. Mr. Campitelli.
Hi.
Hi, you're in a different spot now.
So, the HMS Archery program is now serving grades 5 across 8, so 2 different campuses, Heritage and Del Rio. Because of that, and also the sport actually spans a little longer than your typical sport. It goes, let's see if I have it written down here. It goes across 2 different seasons, so it is a longer sport. I think it starts, when does it start, September?
So it's September through April, but it's just 2 days a week.
So it is a longer season. They do only practice 2 days a week, but it's a grind. So because of that, we wanted to, for a couple of reasons, we're looking to establish it as a sport so that they can fundraise and they can use district transportation when they go to their tournaments. And then, of course, we wanted to pay a head coach and an assistant coach out of athletic funds. So the head coach would receive 10% of the base salary, which is around $37,000, so about $3,700 for the head coach, and half of that for the assistant coach. So we are looking to hopefully to request that archery is approved as a official Chino Valley Unified School District sport beginning this year, 26-27, along with the coaching stipends.
I have a question.
Yes.
How many people do we have enrolled that do
Last I
archery?
heard about 40. Is that something
Yeah,
right?
we average, we ended the season with 36 last year.
Okay,
Grades
okay,
5 through 8.
okay. That was that was not what I was expecting. So.
No, it
It's
is
a very
absolutely
bipartisan
huge.
sport.
And they shoot in high school too. A lot of the kids go on, so this helps them be ready.
I think that's great. This is an action item, so I would entertain a motion.
I will make the motion for the approval for, we don't have the, action. I'll make the motion for the approval for the archery program as an official CVUSD sport beginning in 2026-2027 school year, and authorize the head coach 10% stipend and assistant coach 5% stipend positions.
And a second, please.
I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you. Item 8B is approval to add a special education extended resource teacher position at Del Rio Elementary School.
Yes, so now Del Rio's extended resource classroom is now at 26 students, and there is additional growth expected. Current staffing cannot meet the instructional needs of these students. Workload pressure is unsustainable and impacts service quality. Just so you, to put in perspective, 26 extended resource students is like having like 56 students in a class. It is a handful. So we were looking, Dr. Moody asked if we could possibly extend it to a new position. He has a student teacher that is working with, I can't remember what teacher she's working with.
Carrie Greco
Thank you,
and
Greco.
Crystal Keltner.
So this teacher actually worked for us 20 years ago at HMS. She's coming back to teaching after raising her kids. So we were looking to possibly hire her. She's on the personnel report as well. And we are asking to approve that special education extended resource position.
Any questions or comments?
No, but I would love to make the motion for the approval of the addition of one special education extended resource teacher position for the 2026-2027 school year.
And I would love to second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Item 8C, it's our personnel report. Mr. Cahill.
All right, so you'll see the personnel report. We have on there 3 new certified, 7 new classified, 2 resignations, 2 terminations, 2 retirements, 1 certified change, 6 classified changes, 2 coaching positions, or two separate coaching positions, sorry, 2 extra duty contracts, and then the timesheets. I did not get a final count on that. I don't think we had any, sorry. No timesheets, I take that back. And we asked to
By
approve.
fire for Marty.
Yes, it's been an
Really
interesting
busy.
So that's our personnel. Any questions on that?
Give everyone a couple of minutes to go over it and look at it, see if you have any questions, anything jumps out at you. Questions? All right,
No.
seeing none, I will entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion for the approval of the personnel report as presented.
And I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Item 9A is certificate of completion. Dr. Burdette. Yes.
All right. Hello, Madam President, Board, and everybody else. Okay, so the guidance came down from the state that we had to make some changes, of course, and it was not very clear. It was clear as mud. So we had to dive in and really educate ourselves on what all the different laws say and what we needed to do to make everything right. So what we're proposing is to have a certificate of completion for students with significant disabilities versus a standard diploma. And so what this would look like is, well, let me back up. Before, a standard diploma means that they've met all of the criteria that all of the other students have met. They've met all of the state standards, all of the classes that are listed as requirements for the state. Well, if they have severe disabilities, they're not able to do that. So sifting through everything, the certificate of completion would look like this. The student has participated in and completed an educational program developed through the individualized education program process in accordance with the requirements of IDEA, which is the federal law that we follow. The IEP team has determined that the student has made appropriate progress towards his or her individualized goals and has received the specially designed instruction and related services identified in their IEPs. The student has not met the district's established graduation requirements for earning a regular high school diploma, including required academic credits under state academic standards, despite appropriate accommodations, modifications to instruction and educational supports. Their individualized transition services were completed. And so what this would look like is, because students can stay until their 22nd birthday, but it's an IEP team decision if they decide that that's what's best for the student. So they can still stay in school per that decision, and they can walk with their cohort. They just would not receive their certificate of completion or a diploma until they age out or the parent decides that they're no longer going to have them stay in school. Once that happens, they then get a certificate of completion versus a diploma. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
How do other districts do it?
Well,
This is new.
Okay.
it's a kind of a new thing that everyone's tackling. We're actually ahead of the game. There are some other districts that have not approached it yet. What we used to do is give the standard diploma, but then with all of this new guidance, that's not really meeting the letter of the law. And so we're trying to meet the letter of the law. We're trying to meet the needs of the students and be fair to everybody, but make sure we're following the law. And so there are some districts who are still doing the old standard way. There are some that are moving towards a certificate of completion. So
We've created a new transcripting system as well to facilitate this. Because without new course codes, new transcripting system, we would lose funding on our most profoundly needy students 4 years in, and they're kids that have high costs associated with them, maybe one-on-one aids and things like that. So this process also enables us to keep the students eligible for funding as we continue to meet federal law.
yes, because most of them get OT, PT, speech, an aid, things like that. Go ahead.
Do they get to graduate with their class or when they're?
Yes, they get to walk with their cohort, go through the whole ceremony, because that's important to a lot of parents and some students, depending on their ability level. And so they can do that, but then they can just return to school and keep going. And then once their family has decided or they've aged out, then they would get their certificate of completion, the official document.
Does that affect our graduation rate at all? Just out of curiosity?
Yes, it does.
It does.
But we don't have, we have maybe 2 or 3 students who may fall into this category a year.
It's one of the main reasons, it's a great question, Inger. It's one of the main reasons why we'll never have a grad rate above, like, if you figure what our special needs population is, technically every student is eligible till they're 22 for special education services with us based on what the IEP team determines. But it will always impact our graduation rate regardless.
So do they get their diploma when they're 17, 18, or when they're 22?
They're not getting a diploma
Or,
unless
I
they
mean,
earn the state. And that's really on the IEP team,
Okay,
the parents when they're done.
okay, I got you.
Yeah.
I just wanted to.
But it still does not help our grad rate because they'll never be marked graduated in the state's system.
I think it absolutely makes sense
Me
to do
too.
it that way. I do have a nonverbal 38-year-old daughter who does have her diploma, you know, so.
I think it makes sense too.
Okay.
We do too. We just never
Yeah.
could do it.
Yeah.
There wasn't a pathway.
So
Any other questions then? Seeing this is also an action item, I'll entertain a motion
I'll
for
make
it.
the motion for the approval of certificate of completion for special education students.
And I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
thank
I
you.
would like to say thank you to Nicole, to Christine, who's back here, who's our assistant sped director, to Julie, to Leanne Weller, and to our attorney, I cannot tell you how many hours, well over 100 hours have gone into trying to figure this out. So I just want to tell them, thank you. It was a massive amount of work that's taken place over the last 11 months to bring this to you.
So thank you, Cindy. And also just to update you, as of today, we are at 492 students enrolled with IEPs. We're almost at 500. We probably will be by next week.
Thank you. All right, item 10A, this is a fun one. Removal of preschool from CVHS.
So sorry. Yeah, this is a really weird one. So those of you who've been around Chino a long time will remember that Cougar Lane was the district's preschool program that was operated on the CVHS campus in the 2 little red brick rooms right here. Many years ago, over 10 years ago, we moved the preschool to Territorial, and with school finance, we took Cougar Lane off the books. It's not a funded entity, but randomly it keeps showing up in their systems as having preschool grade levels affixed to the high school, even though we did all this stuff 10 years ago. They updated their systems and now it's showing back up. They won't just remove it because of course. So we have to officially vote to remove preschool grade levels from the high school. And then next month, when we approve this month's minutes, then Leanne can send those minutes to the state and officially have it removed. So I'm just asking you that we help the Arizona Department of Ed fix their own hiccup.
Okay.
So,
Right, then
No brainer.
no brainer, go for
I'll
it.
make a motion that we remove preschool grade levels from CVHS.
I'll second that.
Yay, Inger, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Item 10B, resolution for provision of food and beverages. Mr. Campanelli.
Okay, so resolution under Arizona Revised Statutes 15-342 authorize the district to provide food and beverages at official events. We are asking to adopt this resolution. This is something that's been put forward recently. I think when our last policies were going into revision, this came up again. It establishes expenditure limits, I think on page, what is it, 74? 75, thank you. You'll see the expenditure limits highlighted there, breakfast up to $13 per participant, lunch up to $18, and so on. So we're not to exceed those limits when buying food for events.
this came out of the last legislative session, and this is what the Auditor General is recommending. So we brought food and beverage things to you for the last 2 months in a row, waiting for official guidance, and the official guidance came out last week.
Do I have to read a whole bunch of whereases?
No,
Oh,
you
okay.
can just vote to
I'm good.
resolve it.
I'll make a motion to adopt the resolution for provision of food and beverages.
A second, please. A second. All in favor? Aye. All right, let me get to the next one. Item 10C is revision number 1 of our operating budget fiscal year 20. This says fiscal year 20, yeah, it is 26-27. It just looks like it's year 26-27.
Like way, way, way in the future.
Star Trek.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, some Z's in there and a few other things. So yes, thank you. That is the 26-27 budget. I'm kind of reluctant to say, but it is the truth, so I'll say it. Last year, we did this same budget revision July 31st, and thank you those that showed up and a few called in and we were able to do it. We have this, I guess it's a position, and you just heard from our special education director that our students are now pushing 500. My experience with the district for 5 years, almost 5.5 years, is in the 23 year when our enrollment was 2,425 and our actual count was like 2,260, almost 400 students, at least 300 students higher 4 years ago. Our special ed enrollment was lower than it is now, maybe 380, maybe 390, but about 95 students lower. So we're in this unusual position where overall counts are still reducing, but our special ed counts keep marching up. So the state has a position that they take on that's not an answer or an excuse for spending less per pupil on our high needs sensitive students. And I get that. That's why we're doing the budget revision tonight. We've got to see our reduction in costs follow from year to year if possible. You say, well, why don't you budget 10 million for our sped students? Well, if ever we actually did that and there were expenses close to that, we would have to never spend less than that amount. That's what the maintenance of effort, that's why we're having this. If you spend a certain amount in 1 year and you budget that again the next year and you spend that, then that's your new threshold. You can't spend less. And so we're hopeful that we can take some of these really high cost students and help them and move them along, but they don't seem to be moving along. So we've got to provide funds the next year and the next year. So I'm after about 150,000. It was in your packet, $150,912.21. That's how much we missed the maintenance of effort. So we have to increase that sub-line item for the special ed students by that 150,912 for the year to meet that maintenance of effort. We don't have to necessarily spend it, but we have to have the budget in place at this time, just like we did last year.
John, can you share with the board about how much we spent during fiscal 26 on our special needs students?
Over 4 million.
Out of an $18 million budget.
So 20% would be 3.6 million. If our expenses came in at 18 million, 20% would be 3.6. So it is, I guess, growing exponentially, the students and then the costs.
And that all comes out of M&O.
That is the M&O portion that we're being written up for tonight, that the Department of Ed says you must increase. We have a grant for 600,000 as well, and that helps, but that's not working against this calculation. They say you need to increase your operating budget, take it out of other places, and make sure that operating budget has a cushion to provide for these increased costs that you might have to anticipate. So that's, so fortunately, we had some 570 fund place where we could move some more costs, or it would have been even a higher amount. So maintain that effort. The same thing happens to a degree with our joint tech ed district, our high school students. If per student in 2001, when that started, we spent $800. Don't we dare spend less than that in 2024, inflation adjusted as well. So we have to make sure we do that. That's another calculation, but they see that as a vulnerable population, that we could just do other things and ignore that population, and we don't want to do that. So that's why I'm bringing this back again. And I am always concerned, because if we increase the budget too much and we don't need to spend that, that doesn't matter. We still have to go by what we budgeted in the prior year. So we're watching it really closely, but we really shouldn't be bringing our budget revision to you in October, November. That would be the best time to do it. But when they say we're going to shut down your grant funding if you don't revise it and get it approved by X date, we sure don't want to shut down the grant funding either. So.
Any additional questions, ladies? All right, once again, this is an action item.
I'll make the motion to approve the revision number 1 of the operating budget.
In a second, please.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Item 10D is authorization to exceed M&O fund subsections fiscal year 26-27. Mr. Livingston.
Oh, thank you. You just came full circle on that. So you mentioned, Board President, that this is for the M&O fund and for the special education students. The program that they happen to be working with is the 200 program. And this allows, if you approve this authorization to exceed, this allows for us to budget a budget, in this case, 4 million, in the 001 main fund 200 program, and then spend 4,100,000 if we need to. As long as all the line items, that there's a program 100, program 200, program 300, program 400, as long as the total budget overall, like our budget this year going into the 27 year, is at 18,934,000. Now we need student count to support that, but that is our budget. Within that, we have some flexibility in our operating budget. So let's say if we had to add 30 new drivers for whatever reason, or we had to add 30 new voc ed people for whatever reason, we could expend as long as the total isn't overspent. So that's what we're getting, hopefully getting authorization. Because that's, again, the way that districts get in trouble when they have no clue about exceeding these line items. The last month, it was actually in the June meeting, we did the approval between meetings. These are forms that, again, Yavapai County had service agencies, very helpful. We were able to write checks and do payrolls without having a board meeting every week to approve those. That's very nice for us to be able to do that, and hopefully nice for you as well. So this allows us to exceed those subsections as long as the overall budget is, like in this case, 837 carried forward to the next year. So we're not over budget. We just have to keep juggling. So I hope you approve this.
Once again, it's an action item.
I'll make the motion authorizing the district to have excess expenditures with subsections programs 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, and 900 of the maintenance and operation budget for the fiscal year 2026, 2027. Thanks, Cheyenne. That was a lot.
And I'll second that. Thank you. All in favor? Aye.
Thank you.
Item 11A, first reading of model
Oh,
policy.
no, we skipped E, emergency procurement.
All righty, well, we'll go to item 10E, emergency procurement, CVHS water pressure repair and inspection.
John,
Who's doing this
it's
one?
you, John.
Thank you.
John.
I can speak to that.
Thank you.
Thank you. So we are ready for emergency procurements. Emergency usually means either life or property is at risk. And it allows us, if you approve these, to procure goods or services and keep those risks, whether it's a fire, whether it's a water issue, whether it's a wind issue and buildings are being blown over, whatever it is, to not go out and get bids, competitive bids, to just bring in the services and take care of the emergency. Since I've been here the last 5.5 years, there's been 4 emergencies, but it's been a couple of years since we had one.
Better knock on wood right now.
Yeah,
Right.
It's been a couple of years. So we had a water event at the high school. I think the maintenance director got our call from the high school principal last Sunday, August, whatever that was, 5th or 6th, about 9:30 in the morning. And then by 2 o'clock, we had a response from APS. It had to do with the transformer out here by our water pump for the high school. What, you made the call, I think, Principal Bryce, right?
Yes, I did, on Saturday evening.
Saturday night. So then Sunday around 1 o'clock, I think it was fixed. And so our facilities director knows maybe 400 different vendors. He called a local vendor that we've had really good service from. They called APS when they saw the problem. Some part of the transformer either fell.
Oh, it was,
Or,
it a lightning strike, it was fried.
So the transformer couldn't send a current to the pump or the motor to fill up the water line for the high school. So then the water line to the high school lost its prime. And then, so it was quite the event. Were you here on site for the repairs too? I didn't see that.
No, I wasn't.
So they worked, and then I think water was back on about 1 o'clock. or
Yeah,
so.
it wasn't long at all.
So they were just right here in that. So just so we bring it to you and let you know what happened and the way it happened, we made the purchase order that day. And the purchase order was made before the invoice showed up. In fact, I don't think the invoice has showed up yet. We've been trying to get in touch with it. It was RW Turner that showed up and did a really good job. APS had to do their part first. But we just are really, really glad to have vendors that will do that. Come on Sunday, call out APS, no charge. And Turner, it's a week later, we still don't have the invoice. But and we've had really good service from other providers too with pump service. Valley Pump is another one that comes to mind. But it just makes it really nice to have support like that. So then we want to keep up with our procurement laws because this was a special procurement and we like to call it an emergency. And let you know that we did step up. We anticipate $5,000 or $6,000. That's what the PO was for. $5,000 for supplies, $5,000 for service and labor. We anticipate it would be less than that. Then you're fully aware. And the auditors are here tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock, and they always look for emergencies. And for the last 2 years, we've said, don't have one. But now we know that if we do, we can bring it to you. And then they like to see governing board approval and information, so we're not acting independently when something like this happens, because it could have easily been a lot more.
I'm glad it worked out the way that it did.
Thank you.
I will entertain a motion to approve.
I'll make the motion for the approval of emergency procurement, CVHS water pressure repair and inspection.
And I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, now we'll have our first reading of model policy updates, part 1 and part 2. Mr. Capitelli.
All right, thank you. Yeah, the Auditor General has kept me busy this last month with a lot of updates. This update for part one, these are both first reading for both parts. They are USFR aligned updates to conflicts of interest, revenue, student activities, expenses, payroll, audits, procurement, and food and beverage procedures. And then the updates for part two are legislative and member-driven updates to open meeting law, parental rights, superintendent duties, procurement, public records, mandatory reporting, student promotion, DCS interviews, and interscholastic athletics. This is just a first reading on this one.
Lots of information.
Lots of updates.
If anyone has already taken a look at them, does anyone have any questions this evening? Otherwise, we'll hold them till next month for second reading.
So, and Marty we're waiting on information from the trust to update the child abuse and reporting requirement that board members are required to do. Inger's off the hook. She was at the training on the 30th, but we'll have the opportunity through Vector. You'll be able to do the course online that's required for board members.
I will email you the link as soon as I get that.
I've already got mine done.
You got yours done already?
Perfect. All right, then we will move on to item 11B, second reading, staff housing teacherage. Policy
And this
3.
is, just a second reading of the policy, the standards for our staff housing. Again, this was developed with support from our legal consultant, Jim Ledbetter. And this is an action item to approve this policy so we can get this on our, in our policies.
Any questions? Second reading?
No.
Everyone need a minute to kind of glance over it to refresh your memory?
Do we have all the teacherage houses occupied right now?
We are 8 out of 10. But there's a possibility we're looking at maybe one other one getting built, maybe. So,
Has anybody complained about the raise in the rent? Okay.
not that I know of, and that was done before me, but I mean, she hasn't told me anything, so I don't think so.
Just thought I would ask, you know.
It was a little bit of a raise, but still great.
No,
a great
It's a
raise.
great deal.
Seeing no other questions, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion for the approval of the governing board approves of policy 3-204 staff housing teacherage.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you. Item 11C is open enrollment capacities. Ms. Daniels.
So typically, we're not looking at this until the September board meeting, but because we reduced teaching staff, it's made our class sizes hit the open enrollment capacity sooner. As a reminder, we have this model adopted that allows us to close certain classrooms or grade levels to enrollment from outside the district in order to preserve capacity for people who will move to the district throughout the school year. So you can see that we are currently at a 95% capacity in grades kinder through 6th, looks like. And 7 through 12 remain open to open enrollment. We also have reached that capacity in all but Territorial's EDP, Del Rio's EDP classroom, HMS's EDP classroom, and centers at the high school. So this would mean all our other special education programs listed as closed are closed only to open enrollment. That's students from outside the district in order to preserve capacity for people who will move here.
How many people do we expect will move in? Do we have?
Well, Inger, in what age group?
All of them.
We don't know, but we close that at 95% just to leave a little bit of wiggle room. So I'm asking tonight that you approve these capacities, and they'll be posted on our website as required by state statute.
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
So with our enrollment being down, and I understand getting, that our classrooms are full because we made the decisions that we've made. However, my question is if we want our enrollment to go up, why would we close?
So if we don't, so Inger's question, I think, kind of goes with your question. It's highly unlikely that we would get a whole class of third graders moving in. Like when we get people who move in, the ages are all spread out, and we leave that room for move-ins. Right now, we approved every open enrollment that's come before us, unless a student had was expelled from another district or something like that. But right now, we have no open enrollments waiting in the queue.
Okay.
So we're done with that, and this is where we are with it. But if we leave grade levels open, then it creates potential for, let's say we bumped up to, I'll make it up, 32 kids in second grade in a class. It may not be enough to siphon a few kids off every class and make a new section, in which case in the past, we would just pay those teachers a little bit more and leave those class sizes big.
Okay.
So, but depending when a kid comes during open enrollment, we may or may not even receive funding on them. Like if it's after day 100, then we don't get funded for them.
Okay.
So
Okay.
it is definitely one of those. I asked Leanne to run it last week in order to make sure, because I had a suspicion we were close. And right now, genuinely, we're sitting at some decent class sizes in our, in what our acceptable limits are. We have a few grade levels that are really pushed to the limit, but the truth is we're doing pretty good. And we've had on our enrollment, for example, we're sitting at, just to kind of give you an idea, we're sitting at 600 enrolled at CVHS as of today. Del Rio has 585, Tech has 481, and HMS has 323. So HMS and CVHS are genuinely where we have the capacity, and you can just kind of feel it overall. Right now, our smallest cohort size in the district is we have 123 kindergarten students.
Which usually isn't usually our kindergarten really?
So usually last year we had 121 that we rode at pretty much all year. Typically we enroll between 165 and 185, and we've had 2 in a row that were pretty much right at 120.
Oh.
And that's where, when you look at it and see where are we taking the hits, third grade's got 130 kids in it. 11th grade has 134. And our biggest cohort is 7th grade at 165. We've got a 163, a 165, and a 164. So even in terms of that, 5 years ago, that would have been a small cohort compared to, because we have had graduating classes in the 190s. And so you can really see it overall. We see the COVID class that came through, that we had some low birth rates associated with that. But if you think about kindergarten is 123, first grade is 131, second grade is 146, third grade is 130 for the last 4 years in a row. We have had really, really small cohorts. A big reason for that is low birth rates. Low birth rates statewide, low birth rates nationwide. We live in the county with the lowest percentage of kids between age 5 and age 18. The lowest in the whole state in this county.
We have all retired.
Yes, ma'am.
Retired people.
That's why. And so it definitely, Pinal County has the most. Florence, Casa Grande, Maricopa, and we are genuinely feeling the pinch of it. And the trend has not turned.
And I think keeping that 5% gives just a little bit of breathing room to teachers. Because I know in my time, one of the biggest complaints has always been class size.
And it's hard because sometimes we start, a teacher might start her in the day with all of their kids in the room at one time. But a lot of times they may be, as you've heard, kids are out for resource, for other special services. So they don't necessarily have all those kids in the room all day at one time anyway, too. They might be receiving Title I services for reading or math. So a lot of things affect the continuous number of bodies in a classroom throughout a school day. But the cap is important for those periods at the beginning and end when it really is tight in there.
All right, thank you for that.
All right, this is an action item also.
I'll make a motion for the approval of the open enrollment capacities as presented.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Item 11D, kindergarten early entrance. It is that time of the
And
year.
I would like us to note, I just said we have 123. And how many of them are early entrants? Tell us what the number would be without them, Brandy. Do the
We have
math.
9 early entrances, so. And we accepted, or we are recommending that we do accept all of them due to our screening. That they meet the thresholds, all of them, not exactly, but they were close enough that if we don't take them. What happens a lot of times is they will go to charter schools who can take them because they don't have to meet the deadline. And then they come back to us anyhow. We just didn't get the funding for them. So they're here, they are not pushing any buttons right now. I've only been here 3 days. I have visited with a couple of kindergartners, but not any of our early entrances right now. So we are asking for you to pervert policy 5-102 to approve our 9 early entrances. And 5 of those did attend our preschool.
We would only have 114.
This is the largest you've ever recommended.
It is.
So I have a quick question on the action. It says 5, but there's 9. Is that,
Oh,
am I right
that
or
is it.
wrong?
You only wrote 5 in the
Well,
action.
it
You
is
want,
nine.
like to
Yes,
amend your
can we
requested
amend that?
action? Yes,
Okay.
I don't know why I typed only 5.
you
Do
can.
you guys have any questions or can I go ahead?
Thank you for catching that, Annie.
Well, I was just gonna read it and I was like, oh, she just said 9. I'll make the motion for the approval of the requests of the 9 early entrance students as per policy 5-102.
A second. Fantastic. All in favor?
Aye.
Have fun with that.
All right, thank you.
Good night, everyone. See you next month.
Take this with you. It's got a list of all the fun stuff. We have to take them.